From believing in magic that can turn poison into sweet water to being buddies with a genocide enabler, Novak Djokovic thrives in controversy. So today, why not talk about some of the wackiest things from the Djokoverse? Starting with his tactic that drives his opponents crazy. Is it an exaggeration or is it downright cheating? Well, you decide. In fact, you don't have to decide because the opponents who faced him in the court say they know what he does isn't legitimate. The medical timeouts. Yes, the Serb star and his never-ending medical timeouts rub a lot of tennis fans the wrong way.
First, I have to say good evening and thank you for coming and making a great atmosphere tonight on the court for us. It was fantastic, as it always is here in Dubai. Definitely one of my favorite tournaments, favorite places,
And it's not just limited to medical timeouts. He also takes toilet breaks when the game is going against him. This tactic helps him break his opponent's momentum. But perhaps the most memorable match that he pulled his medical timeout shenanigans at was the 2011 US Open against Rafael Nadal. In that match, the Serb was doing just fine until the game's momentum shifted to Nadal. Oh man, Novak started looking like a different person altogether. Out of nowhere, the Serb called for a timeout because of his sore lower back, rib pains, and cramps. Mind you, before this US Open, it was his shoulder that was supposed to be injured. He probably forgot that in the final. Oh well, I could go on forever about Novak's alleged cheating tactics. But now, you've got to hear about his next comical controversy. Apparently, the molecules can hear you. Abandon your posts, leave whatever you're doing. Dr. Joker has a miracle you must hear about. Did you know that all this time, you could eat the vilest food and the most polluted water without getting sick? Yep, you probably didn't because you probably never knew the Serb tennis star's DIY method to make literal poison edible.
The message really for any young tennis player around the world who is watching this now and dreaming to be here where Stefanos and I am. Dream big, dare to dream, because...
Actually, no. Not just edible, but the most healing. Okay, so here's what you've got to do. Just think positively. Make that positive energy travel from your brain to that stinky, muddy water and that vile, toxic food. You'll need a few things for this, though. The power of gratitude, the power of prayer, and something called energetical transformation. There, that's the recipe. Hold on, there's proof. Yep, the 22-time Grand Slam winner says he's met people who've turned toxic water into healing water. Also, apparently, there are scientists who have proven that water molecules can hear what's being said and can react to our emotions. The water purification industry is quaking in its boots as we speak. Anyway, those scientists who talk to water molecules can't come to the phone right now. And the scientists that have spoken have called this theory out for being absolute bananas. But Djokovic can speak to bananas, so it's fine. Wait until you hear about this next thing he can speak to. He has a connection to bread. Guys, wake up. A new way to diagnose allergies just dropped. Yep, there's another pseudoscience headline the 35-year-old made that the scientists of the world haven't quite recovered from yet.
Of course, a great player, Dimitrov, in a couple of days' time. I know that matches are only going to get tougher for me from here. 2 years ago, I had kind of similar circumstances.
Okay, so Novak is sensitive to gluten, but how did he learn about his sensitivity? He took a piece of bread and pressed it to his stomach, which made him feel a weakness in his arms. That's it. That's how he knew gluten was not his friend. Haters will say his arms must have felt weak because he pressed that bread there for too long. But haters don't know how long he held it there. Neither do fans. Nobody knows. Novak, how long was the bread there? Oh, but what's a little bread press? The next Djokovic health belief is much wilder. Magic pyramids. So, there are these huge pyramids in a small town in Bosnia. Some people out there claim that these are the largest man-made pyramids in the world. It doesn't end there. Apparently, these pyramids have healing powers. And where there's a healing power, Novak Djokovic will follow. Every time he visits the place, he spends hours meditating and claims there's a mysterious magical energy there. But unfortunately, those things aren't pyramids. They're definitely not man-made, and they don't have magical healing powers. Don't look at me, Novak. Scientists have confirmed all that. Then again, when did the Serb legend ever let science stand in the way of magic healing? The guy has worked with physicians who advised him to hug trees to heal his injuries. In fact, there was this one time when he absolutely had to go under the knife to fix an injury, and he cried for 3 days after the surgery because he couldn't heal his body himself with the power of nature. He also tries to buy his food from organic farms, which are watered solely with the tears of doctors and scientists around the world. Anyway, speaking of Bosnia, you should know about this next next controversy. His picture with a war criminal. Djokovic is a fierce Serb nationalist, and back in 2021, he attracted a lot of criticism when he was seen hanging out with Milan Djokovic. Djokovic is a former commander who's known as Legend. This man belonged to a paramilitary unit which participated in the mass murder of Bosniaks in Srebrenica in 1995, aka the largest genocide in Europe after World War II. It doesn't end there. Djokovic is also known for saving Ratko Mladic's life and protecting him from getting caught. Mind you, Mladic is a former commander and a convicted criminal sentenced to life imprisonment by a UN court. He's guilty of enabling and participating in genocide and war crimes in the 1990s Bosnian War. Djokovic also has other controversial friendships, by the way. When he visited Bosnia in 2021, he was spotted singing and having fun at Milorad Dodik. Dodik is a Bosnian Serb politician who publicly denies the Bosnian genocide of 1995. Damn, that turned real dark real quick. Let's go back to something lighter. Some casual good old misogyny will do. This next one is the controversy he sparked regarding women's tennis. He said some stuff about equal pay. Listen, hanging out with war criminals is okay, but women getting equal pay is something he can't in good conscience stand behind. Back in 2016, the current world number said that female tennis players don't deserve the same pay as their male counterparts. Why? Well, because in Djokovic's world, men's tennis attracts more attention and generates more money. But then in his world, water also reacts to emotions. So there. The funny thing is that only a year prior to his equal pay controversy, the women's US Open final sold out way before the men's. Maybe he was meditating in the magic pyramids and missed that news, eh? But please, remember that just because he doesn't believe women should make the same money as men in tennis, doesn't mean he doesn't respect them. He has tremendous respect for women in tennis for managing to play while dealing with hormones and stuff. Oh well, that's old news. The latest wave of Djokovic dislike was actually fueled by this next controversy, his anti-vax stance. Oh yeah, there was that little pandemic thingy, remember? Just killed a few million people worldwide. No big deal. Not to Djokovic anyway. The Serb straight up refused to get a vaccine, even if it meant he had to miss out on important tournaments. All because he didn't want to be forced to get a vaccine.
I understand the consequences of my decision. And one of the consequences of my decision was not going to Australia, and I was prepared not to go. And I understand that not being vaccinated today,
But even before the vaccine, he didn't seem to take the pandemic very seriously at all. In 2020, while COVID was still on the rise, Djokovic helped organize a tennis tour called Adria Tour and traveled around the Balkans. Oh, and meanwhile, casual shirtless dancing in the clubs also went on. But his mind about refusing to get the vaccine can be reflected in what his father had to say in response to the backlash he received for being anti-vax. The senior Djokovic said being anti-vax made his son a symbol of the free world and the poor and oppressed people. He also called him the Spartacus of the new free world. All right, that's enough Spartacus. Sorry, Novak Djokovic